How can you make money by using the correct salvage kits? This is a very important question that not a lot of people, especially new players, are aware of. And today we want to answer this question quite detailed. As always, special shout out to all my supporters on YouTube, Twitch and Patreon that help me keep the lights on. And now, without much further ado, let's jump straight in. I want to make sure that you actually understand it, how it works. So therefore I have to start at zero. So please bear with me here. I want to explain every detail about how to salvage. So I have a really weird inventory setup here, where I have every single salvage kit that is possible to have in the game, and I will quickly glance over it, just to make sure. So you can get those here from the vendors typically. It's really easy to get those 5. And the first one, I would say never use the crude salvage kit. It's just very bad. It's very cheap, but it's very bad. The basic salvage kit is really important. Use that one all the time. That's the most basic one, but you would use that all the time. And it is exactly the same as the copper fat, just that the copper fat costs 3 copper and you can use it infinitely. It's a gem store item, but it's exactly the same. It's just this one is less convenient than this one. And also, if you compare it, this costs 3.5 copper per usage, roughly, and this one 3 copper. So you save a little bit in the long run. Keep that in mind. But this is just straight up the best convenience item. Highly recommend to get that. One of the best items in the gem store. If you want to know about the gem store, be sure to check out this video. But the other salvage kit here, the fine salvage kit, yeah, not bad, but I would typically not use it. Then you have the journeyman's salvage kit, also not bad, but I wouldn't use it. I would rather use the master salvage kit, which is really, really good because it gives you 25% chance of rare materials, and this one also gives you 80% chance of salvaging upgrades. The important part here is the 25% chance of rare materials. That's exactly the same as the silver fat, which is another gem store item. This one, however, gives you the same stats like this, but it costs 60 copper instead of the 3 copper from this one. And keep in mind, this is actually quite expensive. The master salvage kit is 61 copper or something. So this is again cheaper than the master salvage kit. However, and that's the important part, if you combine those 3 salvage kits with 3 mystic forge stones, if you have those, you can combine those and get the mystic salvage kit. The mystic salvage kit is exactly the same like the master salvage kit and the silver fat. However, it has 250 usages. So that means that this one is like 10 copper per usage, whereas this is 60 and this is 61. So they give the same stats. This is like the cheapest option if you don't have the silver fat, and the silver fat is a little bit more expensive, or quite a bit more expensive than the mystic salvage kit, but it's more convenient. So I personally use it all the time. And if you're wondering why it's silver fat, it's called silver fat, it's because it was once, it actually costs 1 silver per usage, but they decreased it to 60. We will get when to use those kits in a second, just want to mention how they work. And then we have the Blackline salvage kit, which you can get from the gem store, from Blackline boxes, or from Astral Acclaim. It is 25 usages, but it has 100% chance of recovering upgrades, not destroying them and, so to say, salvaging them, but recovering. That means it is giving you back the sigils or the runes, guaranteed. So that's why you would use it. But of course it also has a 50% chance of getting rare materials, which is actually higher, 25% higher than the silver fat. So this one is really good to get ectos, but also, more importantly, I would say, to get the runes and sigils back. So if you have a force sigil on something and you want to salvage it or get the force sigil out and don't have an extractor, this is the way to do it. Then you have the research kit, of course, use it for research nodes, nothing special here. And then you have the ascended salvage kit, which is about salvaging ascended items, but it doesn't provide you that much gold. It's more about the items that you can get out of there, so dark energy and other salvaged items, so keep that in mind. I have a guide about a salvaging here, be sure to check that one out. And I also have a guide about how to get the most out of a few research nodes, so be sure to check that one out as well. Links are in the description below. But today we're gonna talk about salvaging. So there is one left over, so that is important about salvaging, or 2 rather. So first of all, I don't have it here, but you have also the food salvage kit. You can use that to salvage food. That's important if you want to go for crafting stuff yourself, food. But I would say it's not that important here because it's only salvaging food. And then you have the rune crafters. The rune crafters is really weird because it doesn't have any, let's say, comparable item here that is like purchasable. This is really a special item that you can only get from the gem store. It has 20% chance of rare materials, so it's similar to the journeyman's kit. However, the journeyman's kit has 60% chance of salvaging upgrades, whereas this one has 100% chance of salvaging upgrades. So that means that you will not recover them, but you will salvage them. So that means that you will salvage the rune on top of it. The other kits have like 40%, 20%, and a very small chance. Yeah. So that means that you, in general, will always want to use the rune crafter if you want to salvage the rune, the sigils on top of it. So keep that in mind. So this costs 30 copper per use, and this 60, and this 3. So it's in between. Whereas this is really important when you use it. Only then it's smart. So before we get to the point when to use which salvage kit to make gold, I want to remind you, if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. But now, let's talk about when to use which salvage kit. So typically in Guild Wars 2, we have like 4 different ways of what we get loot. So we get some kind of trophy item, salvageable item. We get pieces of common unidentified gear, we get pieces of unidentified gear, and we get pieces of rare unidentified gear. There are some special cases like in fractals or dungeons where loot drops still like directly without unidentified gear. We will talk about it in a second. And we also talk about exotic gear in a second. But for the salvaged items, you would always use the basic salvage kit or the copper fed. Those two are obviously interchangeable. Those are absolutely a must. Always use those. This is the best option. You will get the most for your very low salvage cost. It's really important that you use those. There are also some salvage items that have higher rarities. Also use those. So that if it's rare, doesn't mean that you should use a master salvage kit on it. Only use the basic salvage kit or the copper fed on it. So keep that in mind. That's why we do it like that. Then we have the pieces of common unidentified gear. Never salvage it directly. Either sell those directly on the trading post or open it and then salvage the blue stuff that comes out of here, which doesn't have a rune on it. That's blue stuff, doesn't have rune or shit on it. Then you use the basic salvage kit and the copper fed again. The rare stuff that comes out of it, you would use the master salvage kit, the mystic salvage kit, or the silver fed on, yeah, because they have the similar chances, whatever you can afford here. And the green stuff, if you have it, you would use the rune crafters on it, or one of those 3. You can go for all 3 here. For the green stuff, I would say it doesn't really matter. I would say the rune crafters is the optimal choice if you have it. If you don't have it, one of those 3 is fine. Keep in mind the green stuff will also have the runes and sigils on it. That's why the rune crafters is so good, and that's why the first exception comes in. In fractals and sometimes in dungeons that drops loot that doesn't have some kind of rune or sigil on it, then you wouldn't use it. Then you wouldn't use the rune crafters on it. Then you would just take it as it would be a blue stuff without any rune. So you would use the copper fed or the basic salvage kit. And then you have the rare stuff, which obviously only drops rare loot or exotic. So the rare stuff you would salvage directly with the master salvage kit, and the exotic stuff that comes out of there you would either sell on the trading post, salvage it with the master or silver fed, or you would salvage it with the blackline salvage kit if it has some really rare like force sigil or something like a really expensive sigil or rune on there. Like I said, be aware of fractal loot, especially where you get green gear that doesn't have a rune or sigil on it, you would treat it as blue gear. In general, I would say making gold out of salvaging means that you don't waste gold. This is the important part here. So if you open this and salvage it like the rule that I just described here, all of those 3 will be more profit than if you would sell them on the TP or if you would salvage them directly. Never salvage them directly. That's just stupid. Don't do that. You will lose out money on that. If you sell it, it's faster, but so to say, you get more for your time, but you will lose a little bit of money. If you open it and salvage it with the rule, you will get the most amount of money, especially if you have the rune crafter as well, because then you get a lot of lucent molds, which are quite expensive at the moment, and then you can sell a lot of stuff there. Of course, the Actus as well, and if you want to salvage the Actus, you can also check if it's currently profitable, because for salvage and Actus you would also use the silver fed or something of similar value. In general, it's important to understand this rule, because then you will actually make profit. Only with applying this rule consistently you will make more profit than if you would just sell it directly. Keep in mind, the fastest way is always selling it directly on the trading post without interacting at all on it. So always, if you have a stack of blue gear, just sell it on the TP and you will get the money directly. That's the important part. If you want to get a little bit more money for a little bit of time investment, open it and salvage it with the corresponding rules. So just TLDR, blue gear with basic or copper fed, green gear with either basic salvage kit, fine salvage kit, or journeyman's caster kit, but the best option is by far the rune crafters if you have it, and rare gear with master salvage kit, mystic salvage kit, or silver fed, and exotic gear if you want to with blackline salvage kit, or just sell it directly, or with the silver fed, depending on what is on there. And if you have green gear that doesn't have any sigil or rune on it, then you would salvage it with the basic or the copper fed. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again to all my supporters on YouTube, Twitch, and Patreon, and I hope to see you all in the next video.